On to this now. Reports of alleged PPE tender irregularities are emerging at the Gauteng Health Department. It's alleged that it awarded contracts to presidential spokesperson Khusela Diko's husband. The contracts are valued at 125 million. Let's discuss this now, and we're joined by the Gauteng Health MEC, Dr. Bandile Masuku. Dr. Masuku, thanks for your time. So, two contracts are in question here. One for 47 million rand, another for 78 million rand. Which of these materialized?
I wouldn't know because this is a matter that is handled by officials, particularly in the finance department and in the procurement department. And what we have done as the command center, including the Department of Health, is that as early as in April, we just instituted an audit just to check how far are we in terms of following the process and the procedures, whether in receiving donations or in procurement. And it's a matter that has been handled by our Gauteng accounting services, and they've actually found that we might need to be able to start a process to see how far have we been in that regard.
Yeah. The reports by the Sunday Independent MEC, I know you're saying that you're not aware, but surely the questions would have gone to the department that was responsible for signing off on these, and it's reporting that Tandi Pino, who is the chief director at Supply Chain, was the one who signed off on these two contracts. Have you at least established that for a fact?
As a matter of fact, I know that there was nothing in that regard. I think the contract in question was not pursued through, and that's the initial response that I've received. But I think one thing that is important is that all the processes that regards to procurement during this should be audited, and if there's any irregularities, it must be investigated. And we'd like to say that it's a matter that if anyone has got evidence and has got any information of wrongdoing, they should be able to approach the SIU and also approach us and give us the evidence, and then we'll be able to actually to take it up from that point of view. And the message that we are trying to drive here is that we won't be able to tolerate any form of corruption, particularly when we are dealing with this deadly virus and with the pressures that we are feeling. We shouldn't be now even discussing it. We should be discussing other ways on how we strengthen the regulations, not to deal with irregularities. But it's something that I'm hopeful that the law enforcement, and if there's any wrongdoing, somebody would actually pay.
Yeah. So you mentioned that the two contracts, as far as you are aware, they were cancelled. And I would just like to know from your side what the reasons were for the cancellation, because Mr. Diko appears to say that, yes, there were these cancellations, but I did render services to the department, or I did provide some products. Is he going to be compensated for that?
I wouldn't know. Obviously, if there's somebody who has rendered the service and he's followed the process and he's followed procedures, we should be able to actually compensate people for that actual type of service. And it's something that as a department and as government, we have also undertaken that all business people or entrepreneurs who do business with government must be paid within 30 days. And it's something that we should commit. And I think this payment should be within the line that everything was done above board, within the law, within the act, and there was nothing.
All right, we appear to have lost the MEC, Bandile Masuku. Perhaps you may still be on the line. The picture was frozen there. I'm told you are back. MEC, let's wrap up our conversation. Then I want to ask of you, how widespread is the issue of inflated prices when it comes to these contracts? Because that is absolutely unethical. I'm sure you'll agree.
Pretty much, it's unethical, and it's something that the Department of Trade and Industry, has actually emphasized that we should be able to use and be able to procure within the limits. And those who are found to be what they call price gouging, I didn't know the term, they should be actually reported. And those who provide even not quality of what they purport that they are providing, they should be reported. Because these are people that should be blacklisted, and they should be made sure that they are not in any way going to do business with government. These trying times, we cannot be trying to make money out of the pandemic that we are facing.
Yeah. Just out of interest, MEC, many people will ask very serious questions. This is someone who is linked directly to the highest office in the land, and that is the presidential office. The question here is that the company itself, for it to have had confirmation that it had won these 2 contracts, although reasons for the cancellations, as you say, you're not aware of, how long has this company been in existence for? Because the worry is that many of these companies are literally set up overnight.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know any of the companies that have been awarded, and I think that's the reason why the audit process was instituted, to make sure that companies that are getting or doing business with department, and particularly with COVID procurements, should be legit companies, should be companies that have got experience, should be companies that have got a long history of being able to provide quality service to the department. And I think in general, those are the principles that would follow, and it should be a company that agrees with the law. They pay their taxes, they pay their UIF. So all the companies, irrespective of whether they are owned by whoever, they should be companies that are able to tick those boxes of legality and of being authentic to provide a service.
Yeah. Final question to you, MEC. You are going to go off to Nazareth this morning, I'm told, with the health minister in tow, and you're going to inspect the field hospital. Is it fully operational as we speak?
As we speak, they've been managing patients who have been intermediate care patients who have been stepped down from Helen Joseph and Khusela Diko. So it's part of the process of ascertaining the capacity. And with the minister, it's also just to demonstrate to him that there is something that has been happening ever since the beginning of April. So it is operational as its capacity continues to be strengthened, the terms of oxygen provision, in terms of the beds. Remember that the beds that we are going to be looking at now are the beds that are new, and it's the phase of the hospital phase of Nazareth. The initial phase was set. In any case, we did say that they are for isolation and quarantining. So we are, in a sense, going there. It's functioning, and I think tonight, last night they had 15 patients who are on oxygen, who are coming from, Helen Joseph.
All right. Bandile Masugu is the MEC of Health here in Gauteng. Just a note that we did attempt to invite Mr. Diko, Thandisizwe Diko, to come and respond to these claims that he had won these 2 contracts and what the reasons were for the cancellation, and we've not had any success thus far.